Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Thursday, December 28th. Ian Cameron with you, ready to break down this Thursday NHL card. One more solo show for yours truly today, and then we'll be joined Friday on a Beantown Friday edition of the Ice Guys show by Jimmy Murphy, as always, on a Friday. And also, Matt Robinson is going to be back with me tomorrow on the show as well. He did a great job in his Ice Guys debut last week, and he will be back tomorrow as well with me on the show. Saturday, Zach Urban, who's always with us on Saturdays, will be with me. And then Alex will be back on Sunday for the New Year's Eve Bonanza. And I mean bonanza. Looking ahead to that Sunday slate, it is a huge one. And a reminder about the earlier start time for Sunday. We'll be starting Sunday's show at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Central Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time. And the reason for that is we want to give ourselves more than an hour to break down that card. It is a huge slate on New Year's Eve. So we're really looking forward to that show coming up. And then, of course, we'll also preview the Winter Classic on Sunday's New Year's Eve show with Vegas and Seattle. So we'll do the Winter Classic preview on Sunday. We'll be off on New Year's Eve. We'll be off on New Year's Day on Monday. So there will be no show on Monday. And then we will be back on Tuesday at the usual 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's the way things will roll. 2 p.m. tomorrow with Matt and Jimmy. Noon Eastern on Saturday with Zach. And then Alex is with me returning on Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific for New Year's Eve. No show Monday, back on Tuesday. So there you go. That's all settled. Let's look back on last night. It was a huge slate. It's a weird week where Wednesday and Friday this week, there's more games than there are on, Saturday's a pretty big slate. But, this is rare for a Thursday to have just 4 games, and it's because they're kind of going with more games on Wednesday, Friday, Sunday so that they can even things out with New Year's Day when they take the break other than the Winter Classic. But let's look back on last night. 4-3 New Jersey in overtime as they rally from behind to beat the Blue Jackets. A very frustrating loss for the Jackets and for me because I had a piece of Columbus there. The overcash, so wasn't all bad, but definitely a game that for Columbus, they've had too many of these this season and too many bad third periods. Another third period, they end up on the losing end. And it's just, you can't win games. Third period is winning time in this league. And too often than not, it's been losing time for the Columbus Blue Jackets, which is why their third period goal differential is just so absolutely pathetic. And it didn't get any better last night after losing that game by a score of 4-3 to the New Jersey Devils. What an end-to-end rush by Luke Hughes, but at the same time, what piss-poor horseshit defending by the Blue Jackets. Just allowing him all that real estate to walk through the neutral zone and then snap it in. And there's another goal that ended up looking just like that. And we'll get to that in a little bit where it's like, you do realize that's a pretty good hockey player, right? You may not want to give him that much time and space. You may want to, tighten the gap in the neutral zone a little bit. Apparently Columbus didn't get the message there. And then, of course, the Devils end up winning it in overtime. And the good news for the Devils is Timo Meier, after an extended scoring slump, is starting to get things going a bit for New Jersey. They're happy to see that. The Rangers take care of business after a bit of a sluggish start. Washington actually scored the first goal, and that was that. The Rangers 5 unanswered after that to win 5-1 over the Capitals. A very entertaining game in the Battle of Florida. The Panthers with a 3-2 victory over the Lightning. And the Panthers have figured out how to beat Tampa Bay all of a sudden. Lightning kind of had their number for years, and now the Panthers have won a few of these regular season games in a row. Another terrific performance from Sam Reinhart, who continues to just have an outstanding season for the Florida Panthers for sure. And they got the 3-2 win there. The Toronto Maple Leafs, doing a lot of the same things they tend to do. Play down to competition. Don't play for 60 minutes. Think that you're up 2-0 and it's going to be an easy night, and then you coast the rest of the way and you end up paying the price for it. And they were outplayed flat out in the last 2 periods by Ottawa. Credit to Ottawa now. They've put 2 wins in a row on the board for Jacques Martin. And a 4-2 win. And kind of the reverse of the way things have been going for Ottawa since the coach, and really since, even when DJ Smith, the last few games with him, where great starts and then blowing leads. Well, last night they got off to a bad start and they actually pulled a comeback to win the game. So a little bit of a reverse result here for Ottawa, because they have been certainly blowing leads after a good start. Last night they came back to win after a bad start. And maybe that's what it took for the Senators there, as they get the job done 4-2 against Toronto. Boston with a very, very solid, strong road game, 4-1 against Buffalo, a much-needed win to snap their 4-game losing streak. And I hinted at that yesterday. It could have been a spot where Boston, comes out strong after the Christmas break, hit the reset button. We need to get back on track, and they did with a nice 4-1 win over the Sabres. How about the Pittsburgh Penguins? A touchdown plus the extra point, 7-0 over the New York Islanders. Just a wretched night for the Islanders in that game, and it was a huge night for Jake Gensel and Evgeny Malkin with 2 goals apiece for both of those guys last night. Outstanding game for both of them. How about Chris Letang setting an NHL record with 5 assists in one period? 5 second period assists for Chris Letang. Gensel with 3 points in the game. It was just an explosion, especially in that second period. And that second period was all Pittsburgh. I don't know what happened, but 20-7 shots on goal for the Penguins in the second period. And 6 of those 20 shots end up going in. So just a unbelievable explosion last night for the Penguins. And finally, the offense gets going. And can they ride that momentum now moving forward? Too many times this team hasn't been able to back up a very good win with another. We'll see if they can finally do that moving forward. But one of their best games of the season, bar none, with that 7-0 win over the Islanders last night. Minnesota 6-3 against Detroit. It's hard to really truly trust and buy into this Detroit team until their defensive play gets better. And look, James Reimer's struggling too. That doesn't help. You're not getting a save when you need one. 6 more goals given up by Reimer last night. He's just not getting the job done right now. They clearly miss the duo of Alex. Alex, I don't care what anyone says about Alex Lyon. He is 1,000% better than Reimer right now. Lyon led the Florida Panthers into an improbable playoff spot last year. If not for the play of Alex Lyon last year in Florida, that team may not have even made the playoffs. So they really miss him, and I guarantee you Reimer's not getting these starts if Lyon's healthy, and it goes without saying Ville Husso's still out as well. So they're really having a tough time, and their team defense isn't good right now either, but they're also not getting a save when they need one from their goaltender, and that's a tough way to go about in the NHL. You can't win games that way, and Minnesota gets the 6-3 win. Good result with the over there for me in that one. Carolina, 5-2 against Nashville. Very solid win for them. They serve a payback to Nashville, who won in Carolina earlier this month. Nice 5-2 win there for the Hurricanes. And it's very good to see the puck finally go in for them last night. Aho was good. He needs to be good, and so does Svechnikov. And look, they both scored. And when Aho and Svechnikov both score, that's good news for Carolina, and that likely means they're going to win. So absolutely outstanding work from Aho and from Svechnikov last night. And like when they go as those two guys go, it really is amazing how that offense is so much better when Aho and Svechnikov make an impact. And we saw that last night here in this one. What else in that game last night, I should say, against Nashville? St. Louis, a very solid 2-1 win. And look, I've got to upgrade Joel Hofer, man. This one excellent start wasn't enough to change my mind about him, because he really had a bad, rough start. He's changing my mind now. This is 2, not just good. These are 2 really good performances in a row he has had in between the pipes for the St. Louis Blues. 40 shots faced, 39 saves for him last night in that game. He was absolutely outstanding, and he keeps getting better. And to shut down a very potent Dallas team like that, a very good performance from Hofer, and a 2-1 win for the Blues over the Stars. And they're a red-hot team right now, 5-1 under the new head coach, Drew Bannister. So, that's a team I'm very reluctant to go against at the moment, especially after, after what I saw last night from the Blues in that game. The Arizona Coyotes with the comeback of the night for sure. Wretched start. I honestly, once especially it got to 4-0 in the second period when McKinnon got that power play goal. I'm like, well, this is finished. And then all of a sudden, Arizona gets a 4-1 goal late in the second. It's almost like that gave them a little bit of energy, a little bit of adrenaline, a little breath of life. And then they turned that into a great third period where, look, they controlled the play. They really kept Colorado at bay. Colorado didn't do much. Colorado didn't have the puck much in the third period. And sure enough, 3 straight goals unanswered to tie the game. Kesselring, Zucker, and Dursey. And then Jack McBain with the overtime winner. What a comeback for the Arizona Coyotes. And, at 4-0 Colorado, I think, see you later, Arizona. See you later, draw for me in that game. And to be able to see that come back and be able to cash both of those, wow. What a show of resolve from this Arizona Coyotes team. Absolutely terrific. And very thankful that they didn't quit on that game. And that's a credit to them as players, and that's a credit to Tourney for making sure they didn't give up down 4-0. So, what a win for Arizona. Continue to find ways to win at Mullet Arena, which is becoming another strong home ice venue for this Coyotes team. Their home record good this year like it was last year. So 5-4, what a win. What a comeback for the Arizona Coyotes against the Colorado Avalanche, who, as I said on the show yesterday, this team on the road, there's some warts there. There's some issues there. There's some lack of consistency when you get the Colorado Avalanche outside of Ball Arena right now. And we're definitely seeing that. Chicago with a nice 2-1 win against Winnipeg. What a feisty team they've been at home. We've talked about this with Chicago lately here at the United Center, and they played some pretty good hockey at home, other than the Montreal loss, which was kind of disheartening, but they beat Colorado in this building. They gave Vancouver a tough game here. They have been a very competitive squad here on home ice, and a very solid night from Mrazek in net, another good defensive effort from this team. And they were well, I should say Connor Bedard was opportunistic. He gets both goals last night, including a wonderful goal in overtime, an end-to-end rush, and then rips it past Connor Hellebuck. What a shot it was. And to be honest with you, 9 times out of 10, I said this online, that's going to look like a bad goal given up by Hellebuck. A very minimal screen, very minimal traffic in front of his vision, and that puck still beat him clean. But when it's Connor Hellebuck on the end of shooting that puck, it's different because this guy can change the angle, change the speed, change the trajectory of the shot with the way his stick is torqued. And then, of course, he's got a very quick release. So it's one of those deals where a lot of times you're going to see a goal go in from that far out, and you're going to say, what a bad goal let in by Hellebuck. But at the same time, it was just an incredible release, and that's the kind of thing that a guy like Connor Bedard can do. That being said, as great as the rush was, and what a shot, it was a wonderful goal. What the hell are the Winnipeg Jets thinking? Let's just give up the blue line. Let's just give up the neutral zone. Let's give Connor Bedard a late Christmas gift here of having a free skate through the neutral zone into our defensive zone and just let him rip it without a single fucking guy laying a stick on him, laying a body on him. Nothing. There was nobody from the Jets trying to impede him to get into that position there to rip that shot past Connor Hellebuck. Just an atrocious job by the Winnipeg Jets. So as much as it was a phenomenal goal scored by number 98, it was absolutely piss poor, abysmal defending by the Winnipeg Jets in that spot. You got to step up, in the neutral zone or step up at the blue line and don't give access to your own zone that easily. It's ridiculous. I mean, what they did there. That's Connor Bedard, morons. Hello. He's only probably going to dominate this league for the next 10, 15, 20 years, if he stays injury-free. Holy mackerel. Just terrible stuff from Winnipeg there on defending that overtime goal by Connor Bedard. But a nice win for Chicago. They get the 2-1 win there last night. We also saw a 2-1 win for the Seattle Kraken. And this was a surprise to me. We thought, obviously, Joey Decord would be in net coming out of the break with still Grubauer sideline. But little did we know that Chris Drieger had been cleared to play. And this is a guy that's just been out for so long. He has had multiple injuries. He hasn't started in a game since the 2021, 2022 season. So we're talking almost 2 years since this guy's played in an NHL game. And what a return for Chris Drieger. Started his career, of course, with the Florida Panthers, then went to Seattle in the expansion draft. And wow, what a performance. 38 shots, 37 saves, and Seattle with the 2-1 victory there in that one. Not the best game from Seattle. They did get outshot, outchanced, outplayed for a good portion, but they found a way to win. And that's what they've been doing lately. And like I said on X, on social media, and John Massey knows this all too well. Yeah, they're back to the Calgary Sternums last night. They never met a shot to the crest of the goalie that they didn't like, the Calgary Flames. And they had one of those nights where it seemed like every puck was getting vacuumed up by Chris Drieger last night in that game. So credit to Seattle. Great job in that 2-1 win last night, especially by Chris Drieger. The LA Kings with a nice solid 5-1 win against San Jose. Not really much to say. They're just a much superior team, and they played like it. And another team total over against San Jose Cashes, so keep on going with that right now. They're giving up goals again. And then, of course, one of the stunners of the night. Happy for me, I took Anaheim near plus 200, but also best bet for me on the show yesterday, the over. Vegas and Anaheim, 5-2 win for the Anaheim Ducks. Brutal from the Vegas Golden Knights. They've lost their way defensively. Logan Thompson coming back from his injury stint, but he wasn't playing great before, and it wasn't a great night for him last night either. 5 goals on 26 shots. They are having issues right now, Vegas. It's not going to get any easier for them either. They're playing LA tonight. We'll get to that, but just the defending has been poor. It's been below average. It's been substandard for a team of this caliber who just put on a defensive clinic for everyone en route to the Stanley Cup last spring. It's just not what you expect. It's not the Vegas standard defensively, not even close right now from this group. And it is definitely a problem and a concern, and it's a growing concern. That being said, let's not take all the credit away from Anaheim. Anaheim is finally getting healthy. Zegras is back. Jamie Drysdale, I'm telling you, he makes a world of difference being back on that blue line, because that is the area that this Anaheim team still can have some problems and struggles. And Jamie Drysdale is going to be a good one. Okay, he's going to be a very good NHL defenseman for a long time, and you can automatically see the difference he makes now that he's back in this lineup. Just the puck movement. I think he makes good decisions with the puck. There's no panic in his game. Good outlet pass. Doesn't really have many blunders defensively for a kid his age. Very impressed with Jamie Drysdale for Arizona, and having him back on the blue line, having Zegras back up front for more offense, and obviously Mason McTavish as well, who was out and is now back. They're a healthy team. And, Anaheim went through all those struggles, and part of it was they had some key guys out, but now they got everyone back. Don't be shocked to see Anaheim go on a little bit of a run here. We know they're capable of it. We know what they did, earlier this season when they had that really good stretch. So I wouldn't rule out maybe Anaheim putting some wins together here in the next few games. We'll see. They play Arizona tomorrow night, and Arizona after that big comeback win last night against Colorado. And Anaheim at home is a dog, and we know Arizona not nearly as good on the road. So you know what I might be looking at in that game? I might be looking at the quack, the Anaheim Ducks side there, but we'll save that for Friday. We've got 4 games to break down here on this Thursday card. We'll begin with Montreal and Carolina. Hurricanes minus 260, home favorites, 6.5 the total, shaded to the under here in this game. Now, very interesting dynamic here where you have Carolina on a back-to-back. They were in Nashville last night with that 5-2 win. Obviously, they've played a game already since the break. This will be Montreal's first game back from the break. So is that an advantage for Carolina maybe, even though they're on a back-to-back? And like I say, the back-to-backs, when you're, coming off a multiple-day break like this, they're not as detrimental. So it's not like a tough a scheduling spot here for the Hurricanes. Montreal, though, went into the Christmas break with a little bit of momentum, 3-1 in their 4 games before the break, playing better hockey, beat the Islanders, beat the Jets, beat Chicago, lost in overtime against Minnesota. So very, very solid performances there from Montreal. We'll see if they can carry that over here to this game against Carolina. Carolina has won 6 straight meetings between these two teams. In fact, they've also won 6 straight here at home against the Montreal Canadiens. We'll see if that continues here tonight in this matchup. It looks like for Carolina, we obviously saw Kochetkov in net last night. He had a nice bounce-back performance after a rough game against the Islanders. So you won't see him tonight on the back-to-back. You'll see Caden Primo in net for Montreal, and I would expect that we are going to see Antti Ranta, who has been summoned from the AHL, and we'll see how he fares here. I'm telling you what, 6 goals on 48 shots in the AHL level. An 854 save percentage, 360 goals against average prior to his demotion. And even in the AHL, like I say, 6 goals on 48 shots in his 2 AHL games. That's not great. So we'll see how he fares here, but it's been a rough season for Ronta. Let's not kid ourselves. The guy's in his mid-30s now. He's been struggling this year. He can't seem to stay healthy for a full season. This is not a goalie right now, and I'm ready to lay 260 with here on the money line. I think I might take a shot with the team total over. I don't know about Montreal winning the game, because I would not be surprised to see Carolina score some goals here tonight as well. You look at what they've done against Montreal. Carolina's on a streak of 3 or more goals in 9 straight encounters against Montreal. So 9 straight head-to-head meetings, Carolina has scored 3 or more goals. They've scored actually 4 or more goals in 7 of those 9 head-to-head games. So Carolina's had no problem scoring goals here against this Montreal team. That being said, I don't trust Ronta here. I think the Montreal team total 2.5 looks a little cheap. Sometimes there's moments when I want to make a case for a team total when it's that light, and I think this could be one of those nights. I like the over 6.5 here as well in this game. I actually like I know some people in the chat like the under. Not with Ronta right now. Not a chance. And in fact, Carolina, you look at the goal scoring uptick for them. They've scored, in 4+ in 3 of their last 4. So the offense is starting to percolate again. They've scored 16 goals in their last 4 games combined, which is an average of 4 goals per game. Like I said, 3-1 to the over in their last 4 games. 2 of the last 3 meetings with these clubs have gone over head-to-head as well. Montreal went over the total 4 of their last 5 games going into the Christmas break as well. So I do like this over 6.5 more than anything. I like a smaller piece of the Montreal team total as well, over 2.5 as well. I think both teams can find the back of the net here in this one. As far as player props, Stefan Nason, we've talked about him, undervalued, and he ends up getting a goal against the Islanders. He gets a point last night. Aho and Svechnikov finally get going in the same game, which it makes all the world of difference for Carolina. So I would look in those directions as far as goal props on the Carolina side. For Montreal, I wouldn't go past the big guns, Suzuki, Caulfield. I'd take a shot with Slafkovsky as well, as long as he stays on that top line. Uri Slafkovsky, man, starting to get it rolling with Suzuki and Caulfield. He should be getting it going, for fuck's sakes. He's playing with Caulfield and Suzuki. Those are outstanding players. It's time for him to show why he's a number 1 overall pick a couple years ago. And now he's got 4 points and goals in back-to-back games here for the Montreal Canadiens. So definitely Slafkovsky props are the way to go right now. Monahan maybe on the second line as well. He's had a solid season. And Josh Anderson, we've talked about how he's stepped his game up, and all of a sudden, after not being able to put the puck in the ocean all season until about the middle part of December, suddenly this guy has 4 goals in the last 4 games for the Montreal Canadiens. So there's definitely some good options here as far as player props. I like Slafkovsky for Montreal, Anderson for Montreal, Stefan Nason for Carolina. And like I say, if you think they're going to win the game tonight, Carolina, and score goals too, they need Svechnikov, Aho, and Jarvis, those 3 guys in particular, to get going. And lately they've been starting to get going here for the Carolina Hurricanes. So a surprising over for me, because, if you think back to, parts of the season, you would not really think you'd want to be on an over with these 2 teams. But, I'm just going to go on their short-term current form, where their offense has been better on both teams coming into this game. And I don't trust either netminder fully. I don't trust Caden Primo, and I really don't trust Antti Raanta. So over 6.5 for me, and also a little team total shot for Montreal. Again, over 2.5 at even money. You can get plus 100 with that. So very cheap. Not only 2.5, the team total, but getting it at plus 100. So I feel that's worth a look here in this game. All right, Philadelphia, Vancouver. We've got the Canucks minus 160 home favorites. Total in this one, 6 shaded to the over. We'll see how the Canucks go. They were obviously a team that had a terrific pre-Christmas start to the season. They've been outstanding. It's been, and everybody's contributed to. It's been the big guns like JT Miller and Brock Besser, and Quinn Hughes is just an outstanding start to the year for him, no question. And then, of course, you also see Kuzmenko starting to heat up. Pius Suter, Sam Lafferty, Ilya Mikheyev, Connor Garland, even some of the other forwards, they chip in and help out the cause for the Canucks. And more importantly, they're getting outstanding goaltending from Thatcher Demko. The penalty kill, which was, it was almost like an automatic free power play goal for every team when they played the Canucks in the last year. And it's unfortunate for Bruce Boudreau, but it's true. Power play was embarrassing how bad it was. And Rick Tockett's just cleaned that up so much. It's just been impressive to see just how far this team has come along from last year, especially at the beginning of the year to where they are now. The question is, can they keep it rolling here coming into this matchup here against the Philadelphia Flyers? Philadelphia's been a surprise story themselves, 18-11-4. They actually have a better road record, 10-4-3, than they do at home. So this is an interesting game. I don't have a really strong thought other than I do like the draw a little bit. I do like the draw here in this game. Philly's been an overtime shootout machine lately. 6 of the last 10 meetings have gone past regulation. We've even seen the Canucks, 2 of their last 5 games heading into the Christmas break went to overtime or a shootout. I think it's a wash with the goaltending. Samuel Ersson for Philly is in net, and Casey DeSmith will give Thatcher Demko a night off tonight. Be careful with just with Casey DeSmith, that he can't get the job done. He's been good this year. 2.44 goals against, 920 save percentage, 6-2-1 the record in his starts. And he's given up 2 goals or less now in back-to-back. And actually, he has given up 2 goals or less in 3 straight starts and 3 goals total in the last 3 starts combined for Casey DeSmith. So be careful saying, well, it's Ersson on one side. He's a backup goalie. Casey DeSmith on the other side. He's a backup goalie, that these guys are going to struggle here. I'm not so sure about that. Ersson has actually outperformed his expectations this year. He's given up, he's got a few games where he's given up 3, but he hasn't given up more than 3 in a very long time. So he's given the Flyers a chance to win. I'm neutral on the total. As far as the side goes, Vancouver at -160, coming off the break, and they're at home. And when you're sitting at home and you're playing at home without traveling after the break, that's not usually a spot where I love to back you necessarily. But I also don't want to really fade Vancouver at this point. And I don't really want to fade Philadelphia at this price either, especially with the good road record they have. And I just like the draw. That's where I'm going to stand on this game. Like I said, 6 of the last 10 Flyer games have gone past regulation, 2 of the last 5 for Vancouver. I think we have ourselves a close game here in this one. Flyers won the previous meeting, by the way, way back in October. It was a bit of a tough spot for Vancouver. Philly won that game 2-0. So I like the draw here in this. You can get a good price with that. And that's about it. Other than that, maybe we look at some props. And I would say right now for Philadelphia, here's 2 that stand out. Like Owen Tippett goes without saying. He's been absolutely outstanding for them. He's got points in 4 of the last 5 games. On social media, I'm going to start posting a nightly lottery ticket player point parlay. And we had one yesterday. Obviously, it didn't cash, but I'm bound and determined we're going to cash one before the end of the season. One of these like 100-1, 200-1 shots with these 8 or 10 player point parlays, and all we need from them is 1 point from each player in order for it to cash. If I put one together tonight, Owen Tippett will be on it for sure. He's been good, and I'll throw out another one here. Morgan Frost, a goal in back-to-back games for Philadelphia. He's getting the opportunity now as well. Look, it's been a frustrating start to his career, but he's now getting more ice time. He's getting more comfortable, which is good to see. He's also the son of the great, and I mean great, long-time DJ at Q107, Toronto Classic Rock Station, Andy Frost. And Andy Frost was also a long-time Toronto Maple Leafs PA announcer at Scotiabank Arena. Actually, was Air Canada Center at the time. And he also hosted the post-game show, the call-in show for Leafs games. And Andy Frost, man, you talk about great voice, great pipes. That guy had them. And Morgan is his son. And Morgan is starting to play some better hockey right now for the Philadelphia Flyers right now. So those are some props that are of interest to me on the Flyers side. On the Vancouver side, look, obviously we know the usual suspects, Miller, Pettersson, Besser, Hughes, goes without saying. I'll throw out a couple. Mikheyev is always, I've mentioned Mikheyev enough, but I'm always intrigued because you just get better value and prices with him. Pius Suter, I wouldn't talk anyone out of him. He scored goals in 2 of the last 3 games, 3 points as well. Sam Lafferty, we've mentioned him. He scored against San Jose as well. And one more, too, is Kuzmenko. Kuzmenko is one of those guys that when he starts to rip it up offensively, he may be starting to go on a bit of a heater now. 2 goals against San Jose, 4 in the last 5 games from him. Definitely worth a look. And yes, Dakota Joshua, man, Rich H, you got to consider it right now. This is kind of insane that what they are getting right now from that line. But I have noticed that for a few games, and there's one game I took Dakota Joshua. He didn't score. I didn't take him the next game, and he did. He has got all of a sudden 2, 3, 4, 5 goals the last 6 games, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 points in the last 6 games for Dakota Joshua for the Vancouver Canucks. That whole line has been very effective, and to think that's their that's their third line right now: Joshua, Blueger, and Garland. But there is definitely some bargain bin value right there with Dakota Joshua right now. Blueger's got an incredible 6-game point streak going with 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points in the last 6 games. Connor Garland has points in 5 of the last 6 games, most of them assists. That's what I noticed. Blueger and Garland are setting up Dakota Joshua right now on that line. So that is a line that you did not expect to produce like this, but right now they are for Vancouver. And my goodness, that's why they're tough to beat right now. When you're getting the third line doing what Joshua, Blueger, and Garland are doing, it's difficult to beat this team. Tim York, in the chat, our guy Goose saying, I didn't know that Morgan is Andy's son. Met Andy years ago. Yeah, Andy's a very good guy from everyone I hear, from what everyone tells me, and just great voice. Q107, Psychedelic Sunday, all those years. PA announcer for the Leafs, Leaf Talk post-game show. And I love the way he interacted with the callers. If callers started to talk shit and talk like fools, he'd shut them right down. It was great radio. Whenever a caller said something stupid, Andy Frost wasn't taking any of that shit. None of that BS. So there was fun times listening. And he was hosting the call-in shows, the post-game shows for the Leafs. That's way back when Sundin and Tucker and Domi and Brian McCabe and the Pat Quinn teams in the early 2000s. That's when I remember listening to Andy Frost on the post-game shows for the Leafs. That's how long ago it was. But Andy Frost and Morgan, his kid, is look, after some struggles, Morgan Frost, Andy's son, starting to get it rolling for them. So it's good to see. All right, next up, we've got Los Angeles and Vegas. The game of the night, even with the recent struggles for the Vegas Golden Knights, which continued last night with a 5-2 loss in Anaheim against the Ducks. We've got even money both sides here in this game, and the total 6 shaded to the over here with the Kings and the Golden Knights. I just don't like much of what I'm seeing from Vegas at the moment. And we talked about it yesterday, cashing tickets with Anaheim at an underdog price and the over in that game. Their defensive game is just not where you expect it to be right now for the Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, look at these defensive stats lately from Vegas. 5 goals allowed in the loss to Anaheim, 4 allowed to Florida, and don't be fooled by the 4 allowed to Florida. That should have been 8-2, or at least it could have been 6 or 7-2. They gave up 42 shots in that game to the Florida Panthers. Very fortunate. They only gave up 4 in that one, but they gave up 5 to Anaheim, 4 to Florida, 5 to Tampa, 6 to Carolina during this 4-game losing streak. It's just not the kind of stuff you expect from a team that won with defense going to the Stanley Cup and winning it last year. They have now allowed 20 goals in their last 4 games. That's a 5 goals per game average allowance for the Vegas Golden Knights during this 4-game losing streak. 20 allowed in the last 4 games combined. So not exactly what you want to see from them going into this matchup against the LA Kings. Both teams on a back-to-back. So it's kind of a wash here going into this game. I'm just trying to see what the back-to-back records are. LA did lose their most recent back-to-back. They were in San Jose. They returned home against Seattle, and they lost. But that is a game, I should point out, where Joey Decord kind of stole it. LA outplayed Seattle, but Decord was excellent in net that night. Let me see what other they also lost on a back-to-back against Vegas, October 27th, 28th. October 8th, November 8th, 9th, they lost on a back-to-back. So the back-to-back record hasn't been great for LA. The only time they won, I believe, on a second game of back-to-backs was that November 24 at Anaheim, and then back home against Montreal, November 25, they won. But let me see what Vegas's back-to-back record is this year as well. I don't think it's going to deter me, but I'm just taking a look here at what Vegas has done on the back-to-back. beat LA on a back-to-back 4-3. They lose to Anaheim on a back-to-back after that. They lose to Pittsburgh on a back-to-back after that. They lose to Edmonton on a back-to-back after that. They beat San Jose in a shootout barely on a back-to-back. So their back-to-back record's been more bad than good, too, quite honestly, going into this game. Either way, I like LA, bottom line. LA is the better of these two teams at the moment, the better form right now. I think they're always going to be fired up to play Vegas, the defending champs. They want to get to where Vegas was last year. It's always going to be a game where it's a litmus test sentiment going into it for the LA Kings. No question about that. And I think they take that sentiment with them here to Vegas, not to mention that terrific, and I mean terrific, 13-1-1 road record this season here for the LA Kings. So they're going on the road where they played best all season long. They've been road warriors right from the beginning of the season. These two teams have played already each this year, and the road team won each game. Vegas won in a shootout 4-3 in October in LA, and LA won here at T-Mobile Arena in Vegas 4-1 on November the 8th. So I like the Kings here, -110. I also like the over here, believe it or not. We're riding the Vegas overs right now until proven otherwise. The defensive game has not been great. At home, I would expect Vegas to not be shut out by LA. I do think they'll find some offense, find the back of the net here a little bit. But they have been over machines here, this Vegas Golden Knights team. 9-1 to the over in their last 10 games, 10-1 to the over in their last 11. So it has been a huge run as far as overs are concerned right now for the Vegas Golden Knights. So we're going to take another over here, over 6, -120 with them. But I also like the LA Kings -110 here in this one to get the job done. They're just in much better form right now. It looks like tonight on the back-to-back, because we saw we saw Thompson last night for Vegas. They're probably going to go with Yuri Patera tonight, who's probably been more bad than good. But to be honest, in the Florida game, if not for him, it could have been a lot worse against the Panthers. So I thought he played a better game against the Panthers, but he's still a very young goalie. We'll see how he fares here against this good LA team. Cam Talbot should be in net tonight for the LA Kings after they gave Riddick the start last night against San Jose. So I'm liking to hear the Kings -110. Again, wonderful record on the road, 13-1-1 and over 6 as well. And then for props, Byfield, it goes without saying. We're always interested in his props as long as he remains on that top line. And he's still, believe it or not, undervalued compared to his line mates. Trevor Moore, always interesting as well. Here's one, too. I'll throw it out there now. He's been chided a bit for his offense not being, what Gabe Velarde's offense has been for Winnipeg in that much ballyhooed trade last year. But slowly but surely, here's Pierre-Luc Dubois. You down with PLD? Yeah, you know me. He has back goals in back-to-back games against San Jose and Calgary. So is this the start of a little hot streak potentially for Pierre-Luc Dubois? We'll see, but maybe his prop's worth a look here in this game tonight against the Vegas Golden Knights. On the other side of the equation, if you look at the Vegas lineup, Bruce Cassidy, has been kind of shifting things around lately with the lineup, although it looks like tonight he's going to stay with Barbashev, Eichel, Stone, Dorofeev, Stevenson, and Marchessault on the second line as well for this Vegas Golden Knights team. And then on the back end, no changes there either at the moment for them. Barbashev's been good with the points lately. It is worth noting. Chandler Stevenson, we've talked about him a couple of times. He had gone through a nice little run there mid-December. He's kind of gone back cold again, 4 games without registering a point. But definitely you could look in that direction. And Jonathan Marchessault had some pretty outspoken comments about his team after the Carolina loss early in that road trip. And since he's made those comments, he's definitely been noticeable. And he's, heeded his own comments, and he's played well. He's had 2 goals against Tampa, 3 points in the last 3 games. So Jonathan Marchessault, someone trying his best to help Vegas get out of this funk right now. So we'll see how he fares here tonight against the LA Kings. Should be a great game. Like I say, this is 2 teams, and Vegas is going through their funk right now. They're going through a bad run. I don't love their chances tonight, but that doesn't mean we write Vegas off. They're going to eventually, get through this little rut. They'll be fine. They're still a contender in the Western Conference and the Stanley Cup. No question about it. They just got to get everybody healthy. Got to get the goalies healthy. Got to get especially Adin Hill healthy. because I think we're now starting to see just how important he has become to this team. Just the way he played last season in the Stanley Cup run, he's missed. There's no question about that. And it's not a coincidence that the struggles to keep the puck out of the net have also coincided with his absence in between the pipes. All right, the final game of this card for this Thursday night, we've got Edmonton and San Jose. I mean, hard to do anything with this game because you've got Edmonton minus 420, just an insane road favorite price here in this game against the Sharks. Total 7 shaded to the under. And again, this is one of those spots where you've got Edmonton hasn't played a game following the Christmas break yet, while San Jose played last night, 5-1 loss to the LA Kings. So they do have a game under their belt. I really don't know how much that's going to matter here, though, in this matchup against the San Jose Sharks. Again, like I say, I would say find a way to maybe go for a team total for Edmonton, but you're not getting the 3.5 at even reasonable price here in this game. I mean, we've been able to get, minus 140, minus 150 with team total over 3.5 against San Jose lately. But tonight, this team total for Edmonton's 4.5 at plus 102. So, it's definitely been pushed up a little bit, no question. We'll see how it ends up here for Edmonton tonight. Skinner is going to be in net for them in this game. And how about the debut here in this game? A debuting goalie for San Jose, because Mackenzie Blackwood was not at practice yesterday. We don't know if it's a personal matter, if it's an injury or an illness, but he was not at practice, so they had to go to Kokkonen last night, and doesn't look like, obviously, Blackwood's available today, and they don't want to play Kokkonen on back-to-back, so it's going to be Magnus Krona in net here in this matchup tonight for the Sharks, promoted from the San Jose Barracudas up to the Sharks for this first start here. Unfortunately, going well, actually, you know what? I think he got into one game earlier this year. He did, actually. He did. He did get into one game earlier this year for the San Jose Sharks. And I'm just seeing. Actually, it might have been last season, because I don't think it was it this year. No, it was November the 4th. Okay, there we go. He got into that game against Pittsburgh. Magnus Krona. That's right. I looked at the name and I'm like, had he played for the Sharks? He got in. He hasn't started in a game this year. This was actually will be his first start for the San Jose Sharks, but he got into a game back on November the 4th. That 10-2 debacle against the Pittsburgh Penguins for this San Jose team. Krona got into that game against the Penguins, and he gave up 4 goals on just 17 shots. 765 save percentage in that performance against Pittsburgh. So not what you want to see. Yeah, my Corona. That's it. We got that. That's what we're going to use, I think, for him. Magnus Corona there. When you're going to stop the puck, Corona? Well, hopefully he stops the puck tonight. And what a challenge here. You're making your first start of the season here, and you got to do it against the Edmonton Oilers, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl and company. So not an easy task. Gosh, there's not really much to do here, side and total for me. I mean, it's just very difficult. I don't love ever betting overs at 4.5 for a team total. I'd certainly lean that way, but definitely I'm not rushing to bet the team total when I see it at 4.5 like that. Maybe this is a night you take a shot too with that over 1.5 first period team total for the Edmonton Oilers, which you can get at plus 155 in this game tonight. So that's not bad. Maybe pepper this kid early. Put 2 goals behind him early. So maybe that over 1.5 in the first period is the best way. It's certainly the best value. I'd rather have over 1.5 in the first period with Edmonton team total than over 4.5 in the full game. So that's basically the way I'm approaching it right now. How about this call from our guy? He's going to be back with me tomorrow on the Friday show. Matt Robinson, McDavid, 4 points. What would the fucking price of that be? You can bet that. It's certainly a bet 365 you can. I love the milestone point props that you can bet there, where you can bet players not just to get 1 point, but 2, 3, 4, and you can get just outstanding prices with many of those players, to get 4 points. But certainly for McDavid, This feels like a night where he could go off. And let's not forget, he's on this pretty insane run lately since Chris Knobloch got there as the head coach as far as points are concerned. He had those 5 straight multi-point games from December 6th to December 14th. Kind of cooled off a little bit, 4 points in the last 4 games, which is like run-of-the-mill for a guy like Connor McDavid. But, man, against this San Jose team with a very, very green goaltender in net like Magnus Krona, this could be a situation for him to, have a huge offensive night. So, and you're definitely going to get a decent price with that. We'll see how it goes. But definitely for me, I would look toward, if anything, if I pull the trigger on anything here, it's probably the team total for Edmonton in the first period. Over 1.5, plus 155. It's a good price. That might be something I'm looking at here with the Oilers and the Sharks here in this game. But other than that, it's hard to get involved with much else. The total of 7, you're never sure what San Jose is going to contribute to the proceedings offensively, because as much as their defense has fallen, backward again the last few games and not played well. I mean, this team has given up 6, 4, 5, 7, and 5 in their last 5 games. So they have given up they've given up 7, 12, 17, 21, 27 goals allowed in the last 5 games combined from San Jose. So Edmonton could, get you 5 or 6, but will you get enough from San Jose? San Jose's only scored 2 or less now in 5 of the last 6 games. So their offense is really 6 of the last 7 games for San Jose. They've scored 2 goals or less. So suddenly the offense is starting to dry up again for them. So maybe a look toward, like I said, Oilers first period team total over. Not much other than that. Keep in mind, too, with the Oilers, don't just stick to betting Draisaitl props, McDavid props, Hyman props. Suddenly, the last few games, we've seen Warren Foegele and Ryan McLeod and some of these other depth forwards start to get things going offensively and produce and help out this Oilers team and give that support to McDavid and Draisaitl. I've definitely noticed that lately. We've seen, some of the foot soldiers, some of those bottom 6 forwards start to put the puck in the net. Long overdue to give some support to the big guns that usually have to carry things for Edmonton. So keep an eye on that. We've seen, McLeod play better. We've seen Foegele play better in recent games. We saw Adam Ernie, who's playing down on the 4th line, score a goal as well in one of the games before the break. Like I said, Foegele found the back of the net last game. Ryan McLeod's my favorite one. He's got 3 goals all of a sudden the last 2 games for the Edmonton Oilers. So I think if you're going to pick one, Ryan McLeod is a pretty good option right now for the Edmonton Oilers tonight. And again, you can get a guy that's got goals in back-to-back games, and he's plus 380 tonight to find the back of the net. And he's actually moved up a little bit to the second line with Leon Draisaitl and Warren Foegele. So keep that in mind. All right, great stuff. That's the Thursday card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button on the way out. 185 live viewers. And again, patreon.com/Ice Guys, $10 a month. That is the only place to get the daily betting card, sides, totals, player props from both me and Alex B. Smith. We post the card there just before puck drop every single day. Patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts, all our other content there. We're also going to have bonus videos, shows for Patreon members only in the new year, as well as bonus betcasts. And these bonus betcasts, some of them are going to be impromptu. So they're just going to be, we drop all of a sudden, whoop, we're on live betcast, and you won't even know it until we go live. So we're looking forward to dropping a few of those for Patreon members only in the new year. Impromptu, a bonus live betcast. So we're excited about offering that as well. So now's the time. Sign up, subscribe. And again, your $10 per month at patreon.com/Ice Guys helps keep us going on this show and keeps this show going for months and years from now. We actually have talked about this, Alex and I. We have visions of still doing this show 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, as long as, hey, nothing health related, causes us to have any setbacks. So that's what we're here for the long term. We hope to make this a show that we can do for many, many years to come, even as we're getting into middle age, which is a scary thought, but let's not think too much about that right now. Patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 per month Make sure you get on board with that. And also check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. All right, it is time for Bargain Bin Special of the night. Last night, swing and a miss. Dickinson for Alex and Thomas Tatar for me. Ended up not panning out, but doesn't mean we don't have great options tonight. And we do have a couple of good options. And I'm going to go back to Montreal, Carolina, and I'm going to go with the number 1 overall pick from a couple of years ago, who's got goals in back-to-back games, who is starting to find a level of comfort with Suzuki and Caulfield playing on the top line. Let's take Uri Slafkovsky for the Montreal Canadiens, plus 420 at FanDuel for Bargain Bin Special of the night. An excellent price for someone playing top line, playing power play, scored in back-to-back games going into the Christmas break. So it is Uri Slafkovsky, plus 420 for the Montreal Canadiens as my Bargain Bin Special of the night here for this Thursday card. All right, best bets here to wrap things up. Best bet for Alex B. Smith. It's his only bet on the card. The LA Kings minus 110 against the Vegas Golden Knights. So Los Angeles, best bet for Alex B. Smith in that game. My best bet for this card, there's only 4 games. I like LA too, but I'm going to, for the sake of something different as far as the best bet, let's do Montreal, Carolina over. It was either going to be that, and we did Vegas over last night, so I don't want to go back to Vegas. I don't have too much other than a small draw bet on the Canuck game, and I don't feel strongly enough about Edmonton, San Jose to put anything as best bet from that. So let's go Montreal, Carolina by default for my best bet. Montreal, Carolina over 6.5, plus 100, even money. I don't trust the goaltending, and I like the way the both teams short-term in the last 4 games, offensive production has increased. The power play has been better on both teams. So absolutely I am liking what we have the potential, I think, to see some goals here tonight with the Habs and the Hurricanes. So Montreal, Carolina over 6.5 plus 100. That is going to be my best bet here for this Thursday NHL card. Yes, thank you, Rich H. Plus 500 apparently for Slafkovsky at Bet365 to score a goal. Even better price there at Bet365 for him to find the back of the net. So make sure you're aware of that. All right, great stuff. That is the Thursday show. We appreciate it very much. Hit the like button on the way out. Appreciate it very much. And again, we've got Matt Robbins. He's in the chat right now. I see him. He's going to be joining us tomorrow on Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And Jimmy Murphy at some point during the show will be joining us as well for a bit, time permitting, for our Beantown Friday edition of the Ice Guys. So we're looking forward to that. And we have, for Friday, a bigger card than normal. So it's a good thing I have some help tomorrow. We've got 9 games on the Friday slate tomorrow, so we're looking forward to that. Jimmy Murphy will join us at some point during the show, and of course, Matt Robinson will be with me as well on Saturday, noon Eastern. Zach Urban is with me again, as usual, on Saturdays, and then we got Alex B. Smith back in the mix Sunday for our New Year's Eve edition of the Ice Guys at our special start time on Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific. So that is our special start time for New Year's Eve. All right, a reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Thursday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you again tomorrow on Friday for a Beantown Friday edition of the Ice Guys.